Okay, we get rid of the Discord window. That does not need to be up. Uh, Continuing our Temptation Cycle pack reviews. I'm joined by Huntsucker27.
Hello.
And before we dive into this, I do want to give a shout out and I guess a plug for Doji Joseph's Tokibana competition on the Discord server. Um, it is basically a rate my setup for L5R. So if you want to take a picture of uh, your play mat with all your tokens and rings and stuff set up and send that over to him, he'll be doing a vote um, uh, once the deadline comes, and there are some prizes that he's got lined up. So it'll be fun, and
I need to do that.
you should, because he's also tweeting all the submissions to that Fantasy Flight hashtag thing they set
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah.
So if you participate in this, you also help generate promos. I
Mhm.
think is how that uh, Shelter Together or whatever competition Fantasy Flight's
Mhm.
doing. So
Yep.
send you do his submissions by sending them over to Doji Joseph. He is Amlash on the Discord server, and it's see pretty things. So pack review. Um, how bad do you feel about the unicorn cards?
Um, One of them is good.
Okay. Do you want to do them first so we don't end on sad trombone noises, or
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
okay? So the very first one we have is Command the Tributary. It is a zero cost attachment, plus 0 mil, plus 1 Paul. Spell Water Meishodo, and the attached character gains action. Choose another character, move one fate from this character to the chosen character, and it has 3 influence.
Very good.
This is
Um,
this is what you think the good one is?
yeah, I mean, like I always say, in terms of these, you have this doesn't have the unicorn hoops, right? Like this is
Yeah.
not non-unique only. This is not costing me an honor. This is not
Well,
an attachment that costs a fate. It is what it is, which is
it is do
pretty
a thing.
solid. Yeah. From the unicorns that I've been talking to about it, best targets are probably Keeper Initiates or Goblin Sneaks, generating
Yep.
free fate that you're just moving around. Some people are even talking about putting Giver of Gifts back in decks just to keep it in play. You know,
Oh, that's
um,
interesting. Well, doesn't that cost you a fate to move around?
don't think so. I think it's just an action.
Because I know you've got one card.
Yeah, there's a couple that are
I mean,
much less.
you've got a number of cards that move attachments.
Yeah, Giver of Gifts is
Oh
free.
no, no,
Choose an attachment you control. Move that attachment to an eligible character you control.
that's kind of spicy. I like it.
Yeah.
And
So you're generating free fate. You're moving it around. Um, it's
so,
really helpful with our charge targets or cav reserves to,
oh
a lot
yeah,
of people are fading up their gunso, putting one fade on a gunso.
getting a
It's good.
Yasumura and then moving it
Mhm.
over.
Yep, moving it over
Nice.
just for whatever you dig, and then you're moving it. Or like I said, like cav reserves, chart, join the phrase, all of that, being able to make sure that it sticks around. It's just a really, really solid card. And I love that it's 3 influence. It's not going to be easily splashed. It's going to be
Yeah,
probably a very uniquely unicorn thing.
yeah. I think
We desperately need new stuff. So,
the way to look at this is as a quasi save,
mm,
I guess, and so those need to have a significantly higher influence cost than they have in the past.
right.
Um, I actually think Unicorn did pretty good here
Yeah.
in this entire pack. Uh, but I also don't play Unicorn all that much. I do think one thing that needs to be uh, stated early is all of the Maho cards and uh, this card as well, even though it's not specifically Maho, are going to have a very strong interaction with Keeper Initiates.
Mm,
Um, I am curious how this card interacts with Embrace the Void. Does it
Oh,
does it stop the fate from moving?
that's a good question.
Or let me pop over to the rules chat real quick. Uh, and we can do some.
It says instead, so I assume it would kick it back to your pool instead. When one or more fate would be removed from attached character, instead move that fate to your fate pool. So it would in fact be moving, I would assume, and then it stops it and then puts it back in your bank.
Yeah, but the problem is like Embrace the Void has some weird interactions. I think there's some issues with it and Disguised.
Oh yeah, also true.
Um, I'll just pop this in here real quick, and if we get an answer, okay. So yeah, but no, I dig this card. I actually think um, that it works very nicely with the next card, Ayuchi Shahai, which I think is a really good card.
One more thing I will mention.
Absolutely.
We Shadow Step.
Hmm.
One of the things, same thing, right? If you Shadow Step a Goblin Sneak, you get that fate. You steal another fate,
Yep.
and then you can then double up your money. Same with the Keeper Initiate, which
Yeah.
is which is kind
Uh,
of interesting in terms of recursion in terms or getting more value, I should say, not recursion.
I think Shadow Step, because that's in pack 4, I think,
Hmm. Yeah,
is probably like should realistically be its own card evaluation
episode.
episode.
Sure.
Like, here's the episode about Shadow Step because that's going to do a lot of stupid things. Um, but no, I think Command the Tributary is a really good card. If nothing else, it's half of a Ornate fan. So if you're running Ornate fans, you already have slots in your deck for this.
Yeah, just easy switch.
Yep. The next card is a new Ayuchi Shahai. She costs 4, is a 2/4/1 glory, Shugenja Water. While you are the first player, this character gains Covert. And then reaction, after you play a Mishoto or Maho card, lose 1 honor, place 1 fate on this character.
Hmm.
So I think this is a really good card, and I think this card needs just a little bit more support than currently exists
Hmm.
um, to give Unicorn like a new deck type.
Yeah, it needs we need to be generating our own honor somehow outside of yurts to make this a little bit more feasible. In testing, the issue with it is it's just losing that honor every single time you're doing it. Um, it just gets too much along with everything else.
Well, so here are my thoughts on it, right? Like, you don't need to trigger that ability realistically more than once or twice.
Hmm.
Um, and if you get cheeky with it, you can play Command the Tributary on someone else with Fate
Hmm.
and use her reaction and then move the Fate with Command the Tributary onto her. Because
Hmm.
realistically, she only needs to survive for 3 or 4 turns for most. The way the game has, what it's turned into, I think most games are decided by turn 3 or 4.
Well, especially unicorn, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this would be a different deck type,
Hmm.
so like to be determined for this, because she doesn't have the Cav trait, so GPO and HMT, because you want to rely on her. Like, if you're going to use her, she's the centerpiece of the deck.
Hmm.
So you'd need to be running it out of Shiro Shinjo. So I don't know. I think this is a really good card. I know in like general chat, people have been down on it,
Hmm.
but I think it's going to do a lot of work.
Not happy to see the first player stuff come back, to be honest. Um,
Uh yeah, so I like how they've diversified covert.
mhm.
Um Whereas before it was just you have covert or you don't. Um Now, you know, they've got templating for covert to be only on defense or only half the time or only when you're attacking. So it's nice that they have some fine tuning on that.
Mhm.
Um, but I can see why that would be frustrating.
Yeah, and it's just the direct comparison to Old Shahai is there, and I think most of the time, if you were going to run it, you'd probably take Old Shahai, always having covert, and then getting some more expensive uh,
Well,
Mashido and stuff.
the other aspect of this Shahai is that she does, if you want to lean into like the Maho aspect of things,
Hmm.
um, she does fuel Maho very well. Like for
Yeah,
instance, the next card costs one fate, right? So you pull a fate off of her to play the card, and then you put a fate back on her.
sure. And then at that point, you've dishonored one of your own characters to play Bonza Bud, and then you've lost an honor to use the ability. So it's
Yes,
like,
but if you dishonor her, she doesn't.
yeah, that's true. She's not going to
Like
leave.
yeah. So there's give and take. It depends on how you want to look into it. I think if you want to go with um, like a tower playstyle,
Mm,
I think Shahai is a good target because then you don't have to lean into the Maho. You can just rely on the existing Meishodo stuff.
hmm.
Um, or if you really want to go all in on Maho, um, she fuels that as well.
Hmm.
So I think she's a good card. I know Unicorn players are not of that mind.
Yeah, I think it is that, and then it's just the fact that she's not Bushi, she's not Cav. It's just like current cards that we have. It's just kind of a big ask, especially the 4 drop. Like people are going to run Benefactor over her like 100% of the time. If you need a 4 slot, that'll draw you cards, make things cheaper,
I
make
mean,
your Maho free. Like
I
yeah,
would I would legit run both, but that's me.
mm,
Like, because I mean, granted, like this is like the key combo they've presented in this pack is Commanded Tributary and Shahai.
mm,
So you buy Shahai, you buy a Benefactor, um, and then you go through your turn. Benefactor does Benefactor things, and then you drop a Commanded Tributary on Shahai, lose the honor, put a fate on her, and then use command to move the fate to the Benefactor.
after it's gotten your ability off.
Yeah, and that way you have it for free next turn. So, like, I think it's definitely much more combo oriented
Hmm.
than I think Unicorn has been ever. Because most Unicorn, to me at least, seems like I have lots of bodies and mediocre numbers and hope to win that way.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a reliance on specific keywords with our stronghold right now. Like
Yeah,
obviously, I want having 2 bodies on the board that you can't sacrifice. You still need to sacrifice something to trigger HMT. Eventually, sure, Sinjo is just going to get better and better. Um, we'll get away from that 3 attack play style, and we'll have
I
enough support that it'll be more and more viable.
I think Shahai is definitely the start of that
Yeah.
because she does seem to be a really good foundational piece for a new deck style. Um, which is weird for Unicorn because they've only had the one for so long.
Yeah. We don't know what to do with it. We're like, what?
The next card is also a what to do with this card.
Hmm.
Bonds of Blood. It is a one fate Maho spell water. You can only pay for it with fate off characters. And action during a conflict, dishonor a friendly participating character. Choose a character, move both the dishonored character and the chosen character home.
Hmm.
How bad does Unicorn think this card is?
It's okay. It's probably better than. it
That is
initially appears.
that is much more than I expected.
Well, the key is that it doesn't say non-stronghold. So the fact that we have another send home
Hmm.
that you can do at the stronghold, a lot of times right now we're running, oh, what is it, the open hand?
Yeah,
But you can't use that on a stronghold. It's good to turn off dire. It's good to turn off getting 3 breaks. But then you get to the stronghold, you can't send anything home. It doesn't require a duel to send home.
right.
It's kind of like I'll dishonor my guy, and then a lot of times since Pence has become more and more used, you just move them right back. And depending on the clan you're playing against, you're not necessarily, your opponent's not going to be able to move it back.
Yeah,
Um,
my initial evaluation of this was, man, this card is terrible.
mhm,
But then I remembered I had built a truly obnoxious Stall Phoenix deck that relied on Sage of Kisitoshi.
mhm.
And I think this allows Unicorn to be defensive,
Yeah,
which is something it hasn't really had a whole lot of access to. And if you go wide enough, it is also, like you said, an offensive send home on the stronghold.
mhm.
Because since Unicorn tends to swarm, you know, you send your Shinjo Gunso home, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah. I send their tower home, and then cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think uh, this is probably the worst card Unicorn's got in this pack.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think it's still a pretty good card.
Yeah, and it's the same like we've talked about before. Any one cost Maho immediately becomes interesting to Unicorn with Benefactor,
Hmm.
just making it free.
Yep.
Um, and then really all you're paying is to dishonor a friendly to send home. And like you're saying, like swarming, then you're not even having to pay the Maho cost, so it gets more
Yeah.
and more interesting.
Yeah, because then
So
it's just like, oh, I've dishonored a zero cost dude. Oh no,
yeah,
the
and then I
horror.
I, I tense them back in. Cool.
Yeah. And then if you want to be really perverse, you use, what is it, Moto Stables to make them bigger.
Sure.
So for once, Unicorn did good, I think.
I would say two up because we're on pack three, so two of the three we're doing all right. Last pack I
Yeah,
was pretty high also.
yeah. No,
That had tense in it. So
I think Unicorn is gonna, be solidly middle of the pack
mhm.
until some uh, mad scientist breaks the code.
Yeah, I don't know what we're waiting on.
Okay, so back up to the top now, to where we normally begin. These are actually the sad trombone cards, I think, of of
For
the pack.
me as a unicorn player, yes.
Now these are like terrible fucking cards.
I don't
Uh,
know, man. We'll talk about it.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so the very first one, Tetsubo of Blood. One fate attachment, +4 mil, +0 Paul. Maho spell, Earth weapon. This card's cost, it's got the Maho text on it. It is limited, it is restricted, and it says
Hmm.
the attached character cannot be honored. This is a good card. I don't think it's super great for Crab,
Hmm.
but I think any clan that has cost reductions available to them can make use of this really, really well. I think IMC Dragon is probably going to be the ones that like leverage this card the most.
Yeah, like I said previously, like making this thing zero with
Hmm.
benefactor, pretty decent. Um,
Yep.
Generally, we don't really care about honoring characters anyway.
Now,
Um, I mean, even if they were outside of card effects that mess with dishonored characters, it would make up for whatever 0-1 glory that I would be losing. So if it is dishonor, so
yeah, no,
cool.
like this is a solid card. I don't know about Crab. I mean, Crab can use it because they have a lot of saves available to them. So, them paying a fade off of a character is almost a cost.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it feels like they put out really big numbers to begin with.
Yeah,
So that extra +4 is not super pertinent, unless you really want to dig deep with Guardians of Rokugan.
yeah,
Because then, get fucked. I'm going to look at 20 cards.
right. Um, and it's only one influence, so
Yes.
it's not super easy to oh, I've got one influence left, one two influence left. I'll put a couple
Yeah.
test these out.
I mean, and again, like if you're gonna run Keeper Initiates or Goblin Sneaks, um, this basically replaces the Fine Katanas
Yeah,
because those cards are bait generators. Um, so this is a solid card. Um, I don't think there's a whole lot that needs to be said about it. I guess one neat interaction, I guess, is Shrine Maiden and find it because it's a spell.
oh yeah,
Uh, so if you're Phoenix, you can drop a Shrine Maiden with one fate to play it.
interesting. Yeah,
Which I mean, I think all the Mahos. I mean, yeah, all the Mahos are spells. So
sure, you can
Phoenix
put any of them.
as is befitting lore. Phoenix is really good at Maho.
They're good at finding it.
I mean, they were the largest contributors to the Shadowlands Institute of Technology. Um, the next card I think is absolute trash.
Yeah, I don't.
Damned Hida. It is a 3 fate character, 3 mil, dash Paul, 0 glory, Bushi Berserker Shadowlands, and Dire. This character gets +3 military. Um, there are like, why would you buy this card when in the previous pack, I think it was the previous pack, there was an Unleashed Experiment that
Yes.
is cheaper, so it can be Tessened, is 4 military and 3 political, and just does more.
Yeah, I mean, it is a berserker. We
There's
do have
so many better berserkers. Like even at a core set, there's that one berserker that doubles his military.
sure. I mean, to get ahead of ourselves a little bit, we have seen previews of a berserker card that you draw cards if you have a participating berserker. But I mean, I'm
But
really stretching here,
but
obviously.
there's better berserkers. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the vengeful berserker doubles when it's sacrificed or when something dies, which hey gets you up to 6 military already, and you're already
Hmm.
sacrificing stuff. Crisis Breaker gets you into multiple conflicts.
Yeah, it actually it doesn't do anything, but any of these cards that just add stats, whatever the clan when they're dire, like I
Yeah,
don't. It's not great. It doesn't do anything.
the art is kind of cool, I
Yeah.
guess. So that's a little sad that it's going to live in a binder. Um, but at the same time, like it's going to live in the binder.
Yeah.
Um, so as soon as my page loads again, because I want to get a closer look at the art. The Eternal Watch. Earth Province, 5 province strength. Action during a conflict at this province. Choose an attacking character. Your opponent selects one, either bow that character or they give you 1 honor. I dig this card.
I do too.
It gives Crab more fuel for dishonor, which is kind of my favorite playstyle. There's reasons. Um, it it can make attacking Crab really difficult if they stick some fire and oils as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of with fire and oil. This is something.
And not only that, like if you go back to classic Crab with Unicorn Splash and Talisman of the Sun, every conflict can be here.
Yeah, I've already heard of that happening.
So, like it's this. I guess when I said sad trombone noises, I think the damn Tita overshadows like all like the solidness of the other 2 cards with its absolute trash.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as the Earth roll goes, I think you definitely run this over Defend the Wall. Um, and if you're going for Dishonor, this is an easy replacement for Upholding authority.
Yeah, I think it's just solid.
Yeah. +5 is a decent number.
Hmm.
Oh, I did hear back from the rules chat. Command the tributary and embrace the void don't interact. So
Interesting.
if you embrace the void, you the target doesn't get the fate.
Hmm.
Okay, on to the crane cards. Desperate Negotiator. This is another trash card.
Yeah,
It is,
this will be a quick one.
yeah, 2 fate, 0/2, 1 glory courtier, dire. It gets +2 military and +2 political. Uh,
Okay.
it's boring. If you want to do courtier swarm, maybe, because if it is dire, it is a 2/4, and after you test it, it's a 3/5. So stat
Mm.
wise, it can be good, but it's just stat increases on characters are just bad.
Yeah, it's just a stat stick. There's nothing really interesting about it.
Yeah, and I
I
think,
think Crane has like weird. I think they have some weird card that finds a courtier that costs 2 or less. So in that maybe, but
yeah, except that puts a fate on them.
oh well.
So you then have to,
Okay, hear me out. Then you put Tetsubu of Blood on him, right? Then
I mean, sure.
he's a 4/4.
I guess, side
Oh, it's
note,
6/4. Sorry,
the benevolent
Master.
ambassador,
Yeah, I think
uh,
Benevolent
benevolent
Master.
hosts, whatever. I guess
Hmm.
also dabbles in Maho because he provides fuel for it.
Hmm.
Um, but like, okay, so you look at this card and you assume under best circumstances, it is a 3/5 because it's honored,
Hmm.
that you get for 1 turn. Wouldn't it be better just to buy a Brash Samurai and have a 4/3
Yeah.
that you can put Fate on and keep?
Yeah, unless there's like weird shenanigans that they can come up with, really. But then you're jumping through so many hoops just to make this weird 2 cost do
Yeah,
nothing, do a thing.
yes, it is not worth it. The next Crane card. Disparaging Challenge. During a conflict, it's 1 fate cost event. During a conflict, initiate a political duel against a character your opponent controls in their home area. Resolve the duel, move the duel's loser to the conflict if able, otherwise move it home. I don't like this card.
I thought we learned our lesson about harpoons. Did we not learn our lesson about harpoons?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Um, Especially since it's in a clan that has access to, return the offense.
Hmm.
They're gonna bully duel your chud, pull it in, and then make sure they have that character for use again. Um, I don't like it. I don't think it's good for the game. Uh, the prevailing wisdom, whether it's correct or not, is a different discussion. Is the way to beat dueling decks is race them, and just not stand in the way unless you absolutely have to. And now you don't have that option,
Right.
and it just the bad feels continue because now not only do you not have a choice, you have to go through the steps of pretending you have a choice.
Yeah. It's I'm not looking forward. I mean, Crane is already a hard matchup for a unicorn, and then
Yeah.
this is just gonna make it even worse.
Yep. Um, I don't like this card. Like, just it. It makes all the bad feels from dueling even worse
Yeah, it's
because
everything wrapped up in one card because
now,
you're obviously being bully dueled.
yeah, because now you can't get away from dueling. Um, but this is the world we live in. I don't know, like, I've talked to people and they think that this card won't be played all that much. Um, I think it will. Um, you could, I don't know, like, just if you have any movement already, this is another penalty free duel to honor a
Yeah,
person.
it's always interesting to see what other clans think of other clans' cards. Obviously, like sometimes you'll have people be like, "That's amazing," and then you talk to people in clan, and they're like, "Yeah, this isn't worth. We're not going to run this."
Yeah,
They're like, "But that would be so cool." Like, yeah, we don't actually care. It's fine.
yeah. I mean, and that might be the case. My concern, and this is something I brought up uh, on a stream Friday, I think,
Mhm.
um, is that when clans get really good cards that they don't play, it makes using the RL as a balance tool even worse. Because we saw this with Scorpion, where for a long time, like, oh, cool, this is a great card, but I don't need it, so I'm not going to play it. And then as RL changes happened to rein Scorpion in and take cards away from them, they just looked at the pile of good cards they didn't have to play before for answers.
Yeah, just immediate backup plans.
Yeah. So when there are cards like this that do contribute to negative play experiences, as the prevalent decks get nerfed, the clan stays where it is because it has access to comparable cards
Yeah,
or equally toxic cards. And as
or
we've
just
seen,
entire plans that they just entire different deck types that they just never had to touch. And you're
yeah,
like, "Oh, actually, we could do this instead."
yeah. So um, maybe this card doesn't get run now, but if Crane gets hit with an RL change that makes their current deck not good, I think this 100% gets slotted in and just makes people unhappy.
Yep, agreed.
So Dragon, right? Not to, because otherwise we'll just keep spiraling down the drain on this card.
You are correct in moving on. It's just going to get worse.
We have Togashi Kazuya 2. It is a two fate dynasty character. 2 mil, 2 Paul, 1 glory, monk, tattooed. Each character you control gains Dire. You may trigger each of this character's triggered abilities an additional time each round.
Wild.
So this is a blanket Way of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Um, the interesting thing is she does not have to be Dire to do it.
Hmm.
She gives the Dire ability to everyone else,
Hmm.
including herself. But right now she doesn't have any abilities. Um, so, how glad are you that Miramoto's Daisho is banned?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much.
Because the nightmare scenario, and I did this when Daisho was still a thing. I had was it a Hitomi with 3 duelist trainings and a Way of the Dragon.
Wrong for that, man.
So that was 8 duels that I could do. Uh, but with Kazuya on the board, it could be 12.
Yeah, it just opens up giving it to every single character. Dragon has pretty good action abilities on their characters, or triggered abilities. So it's like, I immediately think of dueling. Yeah, it's just
So thankfully, Dragon doesn't duel all that well unless they're
yeah,
splashing
they're.
crane.
Mhm.
I think because this is a dynasty character, uh, it's fine. If this was a conflict character, uh, this card would immediately have to get banned.
Yeah, let me look up something real quick. I remember people talking about a specific tattoo that was coming. No, never mind.
Okay. But yeah, I think this is a good card. I think it lets you do interesting things. Dragon doesn't have any saves. I don't think, except for High House of Light.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe she can bring that deck back, where you have monks that just constantly ride the line between living and dying, and then you High House of Light to keep them alive.
Yeah, I'm looking up some drag because I know there's more to this. Yeah, even like Investigator, doing investigators twice.
So the one thing with that, this ability does not override the max.
Oh,
It only overrides the limit or no specification.
okay, yeah. So the max still stand. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So it doesn't turn anything on that's super horrible. I don't think. Um, I mean, we can take a quick look at some dragon cards.
Yeah, I'm just digging.
Get a new tab, and we can take a look and see. Because, like I said, this I think it's a fine card. It's a solid card. I think it can potentially cause problems in the future.
I mean,
Um,
you can. Okay, so you can dig for swords with swordsmith
Swordsmith lets you
twice.
dig twice. That's a bunch of who cares. Um, hey, you can take austere exemplar and take 6 actions in a row.
I mean, Ratsugo can go off twice. Like
But
that is
so,
the thing. Like Ratsugo going off twice.
sure. Stuff like Keen Warrior can go off twice, which is kind of nice. Um, but I don't think there's anything inherently in Dragon that is like a problem. You know, they can duel twice with Hitomi or Retsugu. That's fine. Uh,
Alchemist, but nobody plays Alchemist. Like
yeah,
Alchemist being able to honor, dishonor.
but I mean, at that point, you know, that does present the option of a Dishonor deck, right?
Doing
Because
Mitsu
it,
one triggers. Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's yeah.
it's a solid card. I don't see it being a huge problem, um, as long as no horrible cards come out.
Yeah, at that point, is it then a question of just volume, like having four, like say you have three characters on the board, they're all about to leave, but then they all do their thing twice. Is it just annoying enough? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not no one card is like overpowered in doing it, but it's just having like three or four cards that just suddenly just pop off twice and then do all these things.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
see. I mean, it fits into the mysterious dragon theme of like, well, I don't know,
yeah. I mean, that's basically what
dragon
drag.
are weird. They'll do
Yeah,
something.
that's the dragon theme. Is I don't know. The next card is a really good card. Key alignment. 0 cost event. Keyho Void. Reaction after you declare a monk character as an attacker or defender. Search the top 8 cards of your conflict deck for up to 2 Keyho cards with different names, reveal them, and add them to your hand, and then shuffle.
Leaders are always pretty good.
So, things of note. This can find itself, and then you can play the second one because you're still in the same reaction window.
Huh.
Um, so that's kind of hot, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're defending, you go key alignment, void fist because those cards are being played in a conflict.
Hmm.
Um, I think this is if you're running Hurricane Punches and Void Fists and this, I think that's enough cards because that's about a quarter of your deck
Yeah.
that are Keyhos. Um, I think this is an auto include because it makes your deck be 34 cards
Yeah.
instead of 40 because it draws 2. Like logistics is good because it does a whole lot of things, but one of the primary things it does is it's almost always card draw.
Right.
So this does a similar thing. Also, it shuffles. So if you're on Mitsu 1 and you are recycling the Keyhos, this puts them back in the middle of your deck instead of at the bottom.
Yeah. Causing shuffling. Yeah, it's definitely good for sure. I was trying to figure out if this would still be in the reaction window of finding a mantra, but it isn't, which is good. Not that mantras are
Uh,
amazing.
no, actually, it's before that window.
Is it?
Uh,
Because all the ones I'm seeing are like after an opponent declares. an elemental conflict. So this is when you're declaring attacker or defender. So they would
I
declare their element
so
before you would, right?
this goes into a timing issue
Hmm.
that I'm not 100% on. Um, is when the conflict declaration ends.
Hmm.
Um,
If it does work that way, then that's even better.
let
Being
me
able to go dig for whatever element. But
let
then
me
you're
see.
putting all these different mantras in your deck, so maybe.
Well, no. So here's the thing, right? If you're digging 8 cards per key alignment, you only need to run one of each.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, and I think that there's going to be a new dragon package, especially for Phoenix, because you can run 3 of this, 3 hurricane punches, and 3 void fists as your
Yeah.
splash. And
Yeah,
that,
one influence. Mm.
yep, it's got 1 influence, which I think is the correct influence for this. Um, what's a title? I'm pulling up the rules reference now to see
The
um,
timing.
the timing for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they can find mantras, then you're triggering those off, which are also drawing you cards. Each mantra draws you a
Okay,
card. So,
so the declare conflict happens before you declare defender. So a conflict declaration happens before you can play key alignment. You were right.
okay. Phew.
Um, let me double check that. Yeah, because declare conflict is step 3.2, and declare defenders is 3.2.1.
Oh,
So by the time the conflict is declared, now it would work if you could play the mantras while attacking,
hmm,
because then the declaration of the conflict happens all at the same time with the you declaring as an attacker or defender. But that is never going to happen.
right.
Hey, Oscar. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I had um, I was digging up the rules reference on my second monitor, so I didn't see that. Hi.
Hello.
Um, so yeah, this is a solid card. If you have access to enough monks in clan or neutral, which you could probably get away with, I think, in every clan.
Yeah.
Um, the splash of 3 key alignments, 3 hurricane punches, 3 void fists is definitely an option.
Mhm.
Um, the next card is going to be real quick, I think. Seeking Enlightenment. It is a 5 province strength fire province. Reaction: after this province is revealed, your opponent loses X fate, where X is the number of attacking characters.
Terrifying to me. Um, maybe not the. I don't know.
I mean, it shouldn't, because you're never going to see it, right? Because, like, this is kind of sort of Night Raid,
Hmm.
but worse. Because someone almost, like, you almost always have cards in hand. You don't always have fate.
Yeah. Very true.
And you are absolutely not going to run this over Restoration of Balance.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to get into like weird province flipping shenanigans, which
I love to.
I am absolutely a fan of, um, playing Shoshinikie while you're attacking with a wide board
Yeah. See, that's what I. Mm,
is kind of hilarious. Um, and then I guess you can be Seeker of. Oh no, you can't be Seeker of Fire because Shoshinikie is water,
yeah,
so
it's
you
water.
can't.
You'd have to run it over Resto. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking then you could also run Night Raid.
Yeah. Just do both.
Um, but yeah, this is a bad card. I like the art, which is disappointing, because I don't think it's ever going to see the table. But this would be like great art on like a full art or a full bleed card.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good backup in case something ever happens to Resto or, you know, not bad. It's just
Yeah.
there's just a much better version of something.
Yes. Next we have Lion's Pride Paragon.
Set your timers, folks. We're gonna be
Yes.
be talking about
Uh,
this a little while.
go ahead, get yourself a drink. maybe a snack. Um, Tell your loved ones you won't see them for a while. Um, Lion's Pride Paragon. 3 Fate for a 3/1/3 Bushi. It is dire, and this character does, while it's dire, this character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution. What the absolute fuck?
I know that I know if you listen to these that it just sounds like I'm always jealous of Lion cards, and to
You
some
should be.
degree I am, because this thing is it shouldn't be. It should not be. It's on
This
attack or defense. It's
this card could be if there were some things different with it. Like
yeah.
maybe it doesn't have 3 glory. Yeah, Oscar, you are correct. It's not Chagatai, except it is. But
Except
better.
it is Oscar because they're going to honor it, and then it's better than Chagatai in that it is in every conflict.
Yeah. Like if it had lower glory, if it didn't bow on attack. Uh Honestly, I would say if it costs 2, it would be better because then you could just murder the fucking thing.
Yeah, you can't even assassinate it.
Um and it's a shame like that it's in a faction that has honored veterans that can honor it for free or called to war so it can save it.
Yeah.
Like I watched Tomoya playing a game that he was streaming a while 2 days ago, whatever. Um where he had one of these and it had an attachment. Who gives a shit about the attachment? Um he won he was running it out of HMT Lion. So he won all 5 conflicts and had this character was still standing and had 8 glory at the end of the turn.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If this thing never bows, it is a palace. It's just
Yeah,
going to give you the favor. Not to mention that it's still on attack and defense in every conflict.
yeah, no, it's just I don't like I just don't fucking know. Like
Do you think Tyler is just at the point where he's like, I'm just going to see what it will take for Lion to start winning tournaments, and then once that happens, I'll dial it back down
well
again.
no,
But
cuz
until
that's
then,
too fucking late, right? Cuz
yeah,
the design time to design and print
maybe
is
it was
about a
still in that
year,
time frame where it
right?
was like, man, they're really having a hard time. I'll give them some bangers, and it'll, maybe that'll help. But at
Fucking
this
gave him a
point, the consistency of good Lion cards is it's overwhelming. There's
for,
just so many different play styles, whatever you want.
forgive this joke. He gave him a fucking bang bus.
Yeah,
Like it's just full, just awful. And I don't know. Like
I mean,
Lion
so
has to start winning stuff. Like there's no excuse for Lion not to be like S tier now for at least 2 different deck types.
yeah.
Like
Can
if
you
it
like this is I do this once, pretty much once per podcast. What if purple though? What if purple though, Carl? People would be
um
losing their minds. People would be upset if this was a unicorn card. Drop the stats, make it a 2/1/2. Doesn't matter.
I mean, okay, so I will say Unicorn probably has the least problem with this.
Right.
Because you can just, um, way of the open handed.
Sure.
Um, the
No, we have no way to move it back in or anything, so it's
no,
fine.
no, I'm talking like playing against it.
Sure.
Like you can
Sure,
turn
you're
it
turning
off
off the dire and then just
until if they play Legion of One on it, because of course this fucking thing's gonna attack by itself because it doesn't need anyone else to wreck your fucking face.
right. I don't get it, man. Like I just wandered into general chat and was like, why is no one talking about this?
I don't know.
And people were like, well, a water ring. And I'm like, and?
Ready for battle.
Yeah, I was like, ready for battle next.
Like if you want to like okay, I understand Ready for Battle isn't being run all that much. Um, but at the same time, like if you're going to build around this card or include this card as like a center point, for your deck, you're gonna run ready for battle, or
Yeah.
ban a command
Hmm.
that's already being run, and then you just need any movement. Be like, oh, you watering me? Oh well, that's cool. I'll bring them in, stand them up, and then just never get tired.
Yeah. Wild.
Like I just
Yeah, I mean, Chag's only, I mean, people are like, they comparing it to Chagatai, and I'm like, well, Chagatai only counts on breaks, and it's, it's like,
handy costs
it's not in
more.
everything, and he costs more. Yeah, this is half, pretty much half the cost.
I guess the stupid counterpoint to that is like, oh, you can just join the fray Chagatai in.
Yeah, sure. I guess, but I can't use Chagatai on defense. I can't. Yeah.
Nope. Like I don't.
Just thinking of it even from like an honor gaining deck, right? Even if your deck is honor running lion, this thing will prevent any.
Yeah, it stops
It's always
unopposed.
going to be defending, so you're never
Yep.
going to have undefended loss
Yep.
of honor.
And I mentioned this as well. Out of Cute Nakoma, this lets you throw away a political conflict without throwing away a body.
Right.
So you can be like, hey, cool. No, Oscar. Lion have possibly the most ways of cheating characters in. Because they got Spirit Caller Junior, Spectral Visitations, Forebear's Echoes. I don't like. I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's like at the perfect cost for all
And
of that.
like even with Forebear's Echoes, if it gets honored in that conflict, you can play Stand Your Ground to keep using it the rest of the turn.
Hmm.
Like I just don't understand the thought process behind this card.
Even when I was asking the question, I said, "Do you think this would become a new tower, like a new tower target versus say like someone else?" And like I get why you might not, because there's always the danger that you're not going to have those cards and this thing will bow and then cool, then you're just out of it. But there's so many different ways that this thing can get in a conflict, interact, even if it's not all conflicts. If this thing gets in half of them, you know,
So I don't think this is a tower target, just because if you're using its ability, there is an inherent risk of if your plan goes sideways, you lose your tower.
yeah,
Um, However, it's a 6 fucking 4. It doesn't need much else. Like
yeah.
you could put uh, any attachment on it,
It,
especially if it's ancestral.
if you told me this card with no context of what this cycle would be, if you said, "Hey, Huntsecker, there's going to be a lion card that has Sashimono built into it."
Oh, it's better than Sashimono.
Yeah, but I mean, like just trying to describe it, and I
Yeah,
would be like, "What? No, no, they wouldn't do that. No, why?"
well, they did. Get fucked. Like, this card, by far, out of the line cards we've seen, feels the most egregious.
We've seen some bangers.
Yeah, Bang Bus full of them. Uh, but, like, it can fit into any line deck that you want. Honor is probably the sketchiest, um, just because you have stands to prevent the unopposed. So maybe not there, although you can if you want. But this card, like HMT, is going to be a thing
Yeah, is that the idea? Like
because
trying to get HMT to be more viable? I don't.
then it needs to have some text on there that says this only happens if you're playing HMT.
Yeah,
Because you honor this character, you're up by 6, and then you drop a Shinjo ambusher into the conflict to trigger your HMT, and then you just keep walking forward.
Yeah.
and what the fuck am I supposed to do about that? Okay.
I mean, and that's the thing, like that's coming from you, a Scorpion player who will dishonor this. Like I don't have that like I don't have that option as a unicorn player. I
I
can't
mean,
make this thing any
well,
less than it's gonna be.
here's the issue is for dishonoring it is that okay, so I dishonor it. You can still play Prepare for War on this thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't double honor it, but it still brings it back to neutral. You know, you can still Way of the Lion this thing if it's dishonored.
Yeah.
Okay, before I start like breaking out the booze at 10 o'clock in the morning, let's move on to the next
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one.
Feeding an army. This one is also probably going to prompt some discussion.
Hmm.
Zero cost event, air roll only. Reaction after a conflict phase begins. Break a face-up friendly province. Place one fate on each character you control with printed cost 3 or lower.
You know I want to break this card so bad in my Unicorn Swarm deck. If it wasn't air roll only, like
Right?
I'm thinking like just but my jank mind has been going ever since I've seen this card. Like, how can I make this fit air? Like,
Well, it this is another card I have an issue with. Because they also have that new line commander
mhm,
that stops fate from coming off of cost 3 or less characters.
right.
So it's a board wide save, which is problematic. Um, this has a home in Honor Lion
Being air.
because it can break before the throne.
Oh yeah. Uh
Uh
oh. Uh oh.
huh.
Hold on.
If you want to stray a little bit into jank, um, you can use this with Appealing to the Fortunes if it's face up.
Mhm.
And I believe the timing for that is because Appealing is an interrupt of a break. The character that comes out will also get a fate if it costs 3 or less.
Wow.
Um, so Lion is now King of Swarm, if they weren't already.
Yeah, really. I'm trying to think of other targets. Like obviously, before the throne is the most obvious one, but is there anything else that's friendly that they would really care about breaking that would also be beneficial?
Um, Appealing to the Fortunes is okay. Um, Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Let me. If
Yeah, I'm gonna dig.
anyone in chat has any ideas for friendly break provinces that this really amps up, chime in. I guess demonstrating excellence, but that's Resto and Dragon.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't just have to be Lion.
Yeah, I mean it's
Uh,
only 2 influence, so it's pretty easily splashable.
I guess we're looking for a react. I can't. Okay, Brain. No, it's that one. I guess Art of Peace. Now
Hmm.
that specifies attacking and defending, so probably not there. Uh, Way of Peace. That could be hilarious.
Yeah,
When this
it'd be
province is
interesting.
broken, choose up to 3 characters, honor each of those characters. Crane doesn't really need that because they just shit out honor tokens already. Um, Lion gets Art of War is obviously a big
Oh
hit.
yeah, that's yeah, oh yeah, 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 of course. Art of War.
Um, yeah, appealing to the fortunes before the throne.
It
Uh,
feels. I mean, the only thing I'll say against it is it feels like they really have to have the tempo going for them. I would to feel comfortable breaking my own province to save an entire board state. Like if you're not going
yeah,
to play it if you're behind,
I
but
guess it is a win more card. Um, sort of. I can see it being win more or stop losing
mhm.
because that can definitely swing. Um,
Timing might be weird too because it's after the conflict phase begins.
yes. So
Yeah.
it's got to be on a face-up province. Um, Alternatively, Lion can just shit out a bunch of characters
Hmm.
and then break City of the Rich Frog.
Yeah, that's true. Like I don't need this anymore. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like I've got my dozen dudes off of City, Staging Grounds, Coma Message Runner. You just shit out all the dudes and then go cool. They
And I
all
mean, it
know how to
doesn't
fight.
preclude you also from doing for greater glory and just doubling up if you
Yeah.
really feel like it.
I mean, I guess that's the other thing is it doesn't specify um, Bushi.
Hmm. Oh yeah, it saves
It's
everyone.
everyone.
Right.
So it doesn't look like there's that many provinces that it interacts with on breaking. So
Or
thank
you get a
Christ,
beneficial effect on top.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thank Christ for that.
Hmm.
But I don't think Lion needed this card. I will say this probably should have been a unicorn card.
No complaints here.
Um, that way,
Yeah.
it gives Unicorn Swarm something,
Hmm.
even if you do have to go into an air roll for it.
Yeah, I mean, air roll's not a big ask for Lion, so it just feels like it's just right there for the taking.
Oh, yeah, Pugin brings up Cycle of Vengeance. That is a new card.
Oh yeah.
That'll do really good. And he's saying it can be broken in Crane with Diplomat, Daidoji Marketplace, plus Logistics.
Mm,
So Crane can use it, and I don't think they're on air rolls right now, but they could be. I guess I just wish this wasn't a line card
yeah.
because it just too much. That is offset, thankfully, by the next line card, which is Forward Garrison. It is a +1 province strength holding, castle trait, and while there is a battlefield in play, fate cannot be removed from characters you control by opponents' cards or ring effects. Um, the only thing of note for this card that I've come up with is it has Noah Bradley art. Uh,
That's the only that's the only thing you've
so
come up with.
we actually don't know what it looks like, so there could be no great loss for it sitting in the binder. No, on a more serious take, it feels really dumb to have a holding require a specific trait to do a mediocre thing.
Yeah, like the
Now,
uni like the Moto stables maybe.
well, so Lion, all the battlefield attachments are like Prepared Ambush, um, Ruined Battlefield, whatever. All of those count as battlefields.
Sure.
Um, but at the same time, it what stops a Void Ring. Like, I guess if you're super terrified of Consumed by Five Fires, but you don't have to be because you have Call to War.
Mhm.
Um,
I think
I
there's enough passive things that have battlefield, even that your opponent might be using, that it seems feasible. It just
I mean,
doesn't seem like the effect is worth a slot in a
it'll
very packed dynasty deck.
if you're building for battlefields more often than not, this will be turned on, right? It's just like
Hmm.
Master Tactician. It's very rare, but he's not active. Um, I do like the idea here, especially since Lion has logistics that they can construct a super province,
Hmm.
which is kind of a neat thing. Although I think that should be more of a crab thing because that is really more about fortifying and defending.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't think this card is good, like at all.
Yeah, compared to the last two cards we talked about, you're like, okay,
I mean, like compared to like
the cycle.
I'm not sure which is worse, Damned Hida or Forward Garrison,
Hmm. I would say
or
damn Tita.
or the Desperate Negotiator. You know what? I'll put Desperate Negotiator better than Forward Garrison, better than Damned Hida.
I would do from worst to best. I would do damn Tita yeah, I would do damn Tita worst, Ford Garrison, then negotiator.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, this is a card for like a year and a half ago or a year
Yeah,
ago. But the problem is then there weren't that many playable battlefields.
I mean,
So
it's a card that just gets better, I guess, over time as we start getting more battlefields. But it still goes back to the problem that it's just an okay effect.
I
So
mean,
whatever.
I guess if Junzo becomes the Nightmare Apocalypse that people are foretelling,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, people are terrified of him.
I don't think they should be. But that's a thing for next pack. Um, moving on to cards that aren't absolute trash. Resourceful Maho Sukai.
Hmm.
2 fate, 2 military, 1 political, 0 glory, Shugenja Shadowlands. Um, no attachments except Shadowlands or spell. And while this character is dishonored, reduce the cost to play each Maho card you play by 1 to a minimum of 0.
Congrats on your new card.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm a dirty, filthy Shadowlands player from the old days. So uh, my condolences for our locals days whenever those get back up again.
yep.
Because yes, I'm well. So here's the thing: like cost reduction is a potent thing,
Yes, very.
especially when there's cost reduction that are costs that are tied to fate on characters.
Mhm.
Like a card that's directly underneath it, Seize the Mind, is a ludicrous effect, but it's kept in check by the fact that you have to pay 3 fate off of characters. Um, so any kind of reduction you can get out of that makes those high cost Maho cards that much more potent.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah,
it does have a tricky-ish cost to pull off. It does have to be dishonored, so not everyone can just slap it in and turn it on. Scorpion can,
yeah.
for the most part. Um, but like I think I like the card. I like that it's a good enabler for a new mechanic.
Yeah, we were brainstorming trying to figure out like closest unicorn probably get would be putting Shadow Step in and Shadow Stepping it to just make sure it gets dishonored. But
I
even
mean,
then, that's not
so
that's not really what you want to use Shadow Step for.
if you want to go like super balls deep into stupid territory,
Mm.
you can Dark Resurrection these out of your discard pile.
Yeah, yeah.
So you pay 3 fate off of a character, which is a lot, or off your characters because I think you can pull multiple fate
You can pull from
characters. Yeah.
multiples. Yeah.
Um, you dark res 2 or 3 of these guys in, and then the rest of your Maho is free.
Hmm.
So if you have enough Maho, maybe, um, but that's not like a serious consideration.
Hmm.
Except out of Scorpion, oddly enough,
Yeah, you guys will have fun with it.
because we have City of Lies, which can provide a discount already,
Hmm.
and pulling 2 fate is exponentially easier than pulling 3 fate.
Yeah, this card will see play
Yeah,
for somebody.
I'm glad this card exists because it enables like in the past the problem we've had with cycle mechanics is they are either absolute trash like composure, or they are like ball breakingly overdone like rally. And I like that this card enables the theme without directly contributing to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's not oversaturated, but it is viable. We occasionally talk about art. This art is kind of incredible. The more you kind of stare at it, the more you see the detail in it.
Like this is a
Hands,
dude's head, isn't
eyes.
it?
That's what I was going to ask you about. I wanted to have that discussion, but even like if you look in the lower left corner, you see eyes.
Yeah,
If you look at the guy's
that
hand,
is
there's
a
like arms and horns, and then staring at the thing that's on fire, you're like, is that skin? Is that just
I
like
so
fat?
he's very clearly got a goblin in the lower left,
Yeah,
and those are oni that are being summoned, I guess.
yeah, and he's cutting his wrist.
Um,
You
but
can see the
that
blood coming off of his
yeah,
wrist and the bloody
but
knife. But
that thing that he's got that little flaming bowl on, to me, that looks a little bit like a head, just because like you see those little three incense sticks coming off the left hand
yeah,
side of it. The thing that they're coming like right off of looks a little bit like an ear.
yeah, that's a
But
really big head. That's a
I
really
mean,
big head if it is.
ogres is big,
That's true. That's true.
but
We do have
like
ogres here.
it more realistically, it's probably just a big rock.
Yeah, but I mean, great art. Like
Yeah,
literally, the
no,
more you stare at it, you're like, oh, oh,
this is another card I would like to see like a full art for,
yeah, for sure.
especially if there's like extra stuff that got cropped for text boxes.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I think. Whoops, now I'm super zoomed in. Sure, we'll say super zoomed in. I like the card. I think some clans will find a way to run it. There's you can't Sanguine Mastery it, but you could Bonds of Blood it
Hmm.
to turn it on, um, which I suppose is another question for rules people.
Why could you not Sanguine Mastery?
It has zero glory,
Uh,
so you you are not discarding any attachments with it, so it's not an extra
Therefore, the
20.
effect, right?
Uh, Onto the Water Province by Onatangu's Light. 4 province strength, Water Province, or the city trait. During conflicts at this province, each character in play is considered to have no fate on it, and fate tokens cannot be moved or removed from those characters. Um, this card, I think, is going to cause some headaches for the game on a mechanical level.
Yeah, I immediately think of Raitsugu.
I mean, yeah, there's a Retsugu interaction. He can murder anyone that's in front of him. You can water ring anyone
Hmm.
if you're attacking into his province, uh, or if you have like a seeker kami or any kami, you can hit anyone with it. Um, it does also shut off Maho
Hmm.
because you can't pay for it.
Right,
It stops void rings.
right, because you can't remove or
Yep.
you
Um, where things will get weird, and I'm sure people in the rules channel have already discussed this. Um, I don't know how it interacts with, say, disguised.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question because
Because part of playing disguised involves moving the
yeah, I
tokens.
was about to say it is considered to move the tokens
Yeah.
along with status,
So
fate, and everything are considered to be moved.
so and I mean this might not be a rules headache. It could be as simple as yeah, you can disguise over a dude with fate, but if you do that, the fate goes away
Hmm.
because you do end up discarding the character anyway. Um, but I
I mean, it's
think
live on Jigoku, so I assume I assume they solved it. But
uh so I wouldn't make that assumption.
mm,
They could just be relying on the existing framework to handle it without having coded the specific interaction.
yeah,
So the way it works on Jigoku, Could be by design, in which case they have it solved, or it could just be this is how the framework of the game is handling it, and it hasn't been directly addressed. Which also doesn't mean it's not handling it incorrectly.
So Oscar is saying fate stays on the guy you disguise from, i.e., it gets lost. So
Okay. Oh, yep. Then ignore my previous mechanical headache thing. This is a cute province. I think if it applied in every water province, maybe.
yeah, and water provinces are bad enough that maybe somebody just wants to go to Janktown and play this thing,
Yeah.
where it could be a headache. But I don't see this thing seeing a ton of play. And I
No.
mean, like I said, maybe with the Raitsugu interaction.
Yeah, I think we'll see Raitsugu happen, or someone will try it, and if it can be reliable, then yes. Otherwise, no.
Mm.
Um, the next card is a Phoenix attachment in Harmony, 0 cost plus 0 mil plus 1 Paul. It is a condition. Play only if you have at least 1 ring in your claimed pool. It is ancestral, and fate unattached characters cannot be removed by card or ring effects.
Interesting.
I think this card gets played if Maho is a problem,
Mm-hmm.
because you can put this on your opponent's character, and then they can't play their Maho cards.
Yeah.
And then you get it back and you can do it again.
I really like the condition of having a ring in your claimed ring pool before you can play it. I would really like to see, now that I've seen this, I'm kind of like, I would really like to see strong, cheaper attachments that would require maybe even 2 to like 3 rings to do something
Uh,
wild.
we've seen a couple of cards that are contingent on having rings.
Hmm.
Dragon has a few characters that are like, hey, return X amount of rings to get an attachment, or
Oh
return
yeah,
a ring
that's
to
true.
do a
That's true.
thing. Lion has one. No, Lion has 2 cards. One of them honors a character if you have a military ring claimed,
Hmm.
and then there's the other one where it's if you have 2 rings claimed, stand a person.
Hmm.
So that is space that exists already. It is nice to see a continuation on exploring. Um, I do also like that this is more a condition for everyone but Phoenix,
Hmm.
because they have Secluded Shrine.
Yeah, and ancestral too. So it's
Uh,
always gonna come
is
back
it?
to you.
Is it? Oh no, it has
No, I'm saying
ancestral.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But Secluded Shrine, they can just be like, yeah, I've got a ring, whatever. Who cares?
Mhm.
Um, I like this card. I think the art is pretty phenomenal on it.
Yep.
Um, I don't know that it's going to see a whole lot of play. Um, Again, this feels like a card for a year ago for Be Consumed by Five Fires mirror match.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing attachment creep over the cycles to where you're starting to see, especially for Unicorn, but even other clans, for stuff that would have costed 1 being 0, or maybe
Yeah.
not having any stats, having stats, or you know,
Well, that's a product of how Core was designed,
yeah,
right? Like I do genuinely think having Fine Katana and Ornate Fan be 0 cost plus 2s
it sets the
set
bar. Yeah, it
it
sets the
it
bar
it set the
immediately, and then
baseline incorrectly.
yeah,
So now attachments have to either be free and give stats, or give a lot of stats to compete with those 2 cards.
hmm
Um, but this card, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, I don't see this being a problem card. Um, I guess, like, if you wanted to throw this on Raitsugu,
sure,
he never loses,
hmm
which is cute because he can't have his fate pulled off by card effects,
right,
um, which is cute, I guess.
yeah,
It's not limited, so if you want to tower up by increments, you can throw a bunch of these on a character.
yeah. Interesting card, maybe not maybe not wide use, but cool.
No, yeah, no, it's a neat card. Um, maybe flavorful. I'm not quite sure, but I like it.
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessarily a great card, but I like it. Um, next one is Kaido Mai. It is 2 fate for a 2/2/0 Dynasty Monk. With Dire, this character gets +3 glory. And after one or more fate is removed, as a reaction, after one or more fate is removed from this character outside the fate phase, choose another character, remove one fate from this character. Um, it's kind of an on-demand Void Ring.
It's interesting. I mean, it straight up has monk keywords, which is not something
Yep.
they're necessarily going to care
It's
about, except outside of the monk package.
it's just it's another piece for the Phoenix Monk deck,
Hmm.
whose centerpiece will be the Kaito Temple Protectors.
Hmm.
Um, its Dire ability um, means Sanpuku Saito, it wasn't breaking before and now it's never going to break.
Yeah,
Um, it it's I don't know. Like I like the card a lot. I
I immediately think of tributary. Like, right, I'm looking at tributary and being like, huh,
yeah, like hey, cool. I'm going to move a fate off this character and void ring your character.
right.
Um, it I like the utility it has, right? Because you also don't have to void ring your opponent's characters.
Hmm.
Um, you can, if you want to, like go in for the all-in big attack, kamikaze your board by paying her or paying fate off of her to turn on Maho or to play Maho, and then use her reaction to turn on Dire on one of your other characters.
Yeah, I think the interaction is really interesting because this is like a really good example of like a dire character where it's not the complete character like we're seeing in Crab and Crane. It still does something that is makes you want to try to remove fate from it
Yeah,
and like moving fate back and forth on it. It's kind of yeah,
like
it's really cool.
I think she would be just as playable if she had like a base 1 or 2 glory and didn't have Dire.
Yeah.
Like I don't think like if she just had her dire text, she would join the ranks of Damned Hida and Desperate Negotiator. But her action is what I think makes it super, super interesting.
Yeah, it's
Um,
well, the dire is the surprise effect. It is like, hey, I'm pulling off the fate phase. All of a sudden, this thing is now a lot bigger than you were anticipating, kind of.
okay, I will say so far the only other Phoenix character we've seen with dire is Steward of Cryptic Lore,
Mm,
which is another boring. This character gets +3 political.
that, yeah.
So unless there's some mutual dire character or a Phoenix character we haven't seen yet, um, you'll only be pulling fate off of your opponent's characters.
Mm,
Um, there is a rules interaction between her and Sanguine Mastery, which is the next card.
mm,
Sanguine Mastery is a 1 fate Phoenix event, Maho spell fire roll only. This card's fate cost can only be paid. It's got the Maho text on it. I don't know why I start
yeah.
reading it and then remember. Um, Dishonor a friendly character. Choose up to X attachments, where X is the dishonored character's glory. Discard each of those attachments. The interaction with Kaido Mai is if you cannot pull the last fate off of her to
Which would
get
then
rid.
suddenly become three, which would, yeah.
Correct, because at the time you're paying the cost, she has 0 glory,
Mm,
which means you can't choose her for the the reference of what to discard. Now, if you hit her with like IMS or Cloak of Night, and then pull the fate off of her for Sanguine Mastery,
mhm.
her increased glory counts.
Huh.
because she has a base glory to reference, so she's a valid target. And then when you get to the evaluation of it, it's now +3. Um, with that out the way, this card's supposed to be like the Tower Killer, um, along with Curse of Misfortune.
Is that what
Uh,
people were? This would be the tower killer?
well, yeah, because like you can blow up 2 to 3 attachments with it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think it's good. I mean, we'll get to it, but like
It is. Um, I don't think this is like. I think this is a better answer than Curse of Misfortune.
mhm.
Um, but I don't think this is going to be a universal thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
you're
sure.
choosing the attachments. Like this lets you pick.
Yeah. Uh, but this, I think you play this when you can get rid of 2 attachments.
Yeah, I can't see it for less than two.
Yeah, because you are paying a fate off of a character. Um, Out of Phoenix, Phoenix is clearly the one that's going to use this the best, I think. And for Phoenix, this might be the tower answer because they can always IMS a character.
Mhm.
Um, so I think for Phoenix, like the standard line of play is going to be, oh, I'll give my Ethereal Dreamer +2 glory and then blow up 2 attachments with it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think this is going to be, for the most part, like, oh, look, you've got your 17 attachment dude. This is not going to answer that card
Mhm.
or that problem. Um, I don't really know what clans will comfortably run it. Phoenix and Scorpion for sure.
Yeah, the element lock makes it.
No, yeah, I mean, I was just talking about like just even outside the element lock,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like its effect. Crab sure shit isn't going to run this. Uh, Lion
Unicorn won't run
could,
it. Lion might.
just because they have Prepare for War. So most of their commanders have 2 glory, I think.
Mhm.
So they can blow up 2 attachments and then honor their character. So maybe Lion. Um, Dragon probably not.
Uh, Interesting card.
It is. But like I said, when this card was first previewed, it was heralded as the death of Tower,
Oh,
and I don't think it's going to be that.
I'm glad I missed that discourse because I would have been like, "What?
Yeah, no, like
It'll be good, but not that good."
this, like you play it for 1 attachment if you absolutely have to. I think your sweet spot is 2. Anything else is gravy. Uh, but the problem towers have like 8 attachments on them.
Well, the good
And
news is it's. I mean, we'll talk it out, but like the good news is it doesn't have to be on the same character either. Like
that is true. You
you
can
can pull
spread it
from
out.
multiple. You can spread it out if you want. Um, and like I said before, it's choosing, which is like super good versus
Yeah.
where curse is just like the opponent choosing.
Yeah. So I like the art too. It's a creepy old dude
Yeah.
who's doing creepy old dude things. All right, on to the last batch now, the Scorpion cards. We have Yogo Paramore. It is 2 fate, 1 military, 3 glory, or Jesus Christ, 1 fate. Fuck.
Political.
Yeah, it's a shame I don't edit these before I put them to YouTube, so my shame will live forever. It is a 2 fate cost, 1 military, 3 political, 0 glory, Shugenja Air. It has the dire ability of this character gains action, bow this character, choose another character, dishonor that character. Um, I like this card,
Mhm.
not necessarily because of what it does, but how it does it. I think targeted dishonor is potent, but I also think that Scorpion Dishonor took uh, what I will say, and I'd be happy to be wrong, a nearly unrecoverable hit with the city changes.
Hmm.
If there is going to be a Dishonor deck, it's not going to look anything like it used to, which is probably good for the game.
Hmm.
Um, but what I like about this card is the fact that it bows as a cost, and I think we need to see more of that in the game.
Yeah, bowing as a cost is interesting, and then choosing another character. Doesn't say opponent's character, so
Yep.
you know
So
if you wanna do it to what's her name? Sadako? What is that it?
yeah, Sadako can get
Sadako, yeah.
dishonored. He does turn on the resourceful Mahosukai
Yeah, also
without
true.
any like awkwardness. Um, he can obviously he's going to dishonor high value targets, but most of the clans that honor their high value targets have a way to re-honor them easily.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know that his I don't know that he sees play because you can effectively only use his ability once.
I think of him as kind of almost like a defensive character, right? Like you're defending, and then your opponent puts enough cards in or adds enough force to where it's obvious that he's not, he doesn't need to do what he's doing anymore, and then you just bow him in the middle of the conflict, and then dishonor while you're at it.
Yeah, but his ability is good, but I don't think it's good only once.
Yeah, like you would need some kind of saves or something to make it
Right, and
ready, something to make it.
Scorpion doesn't have any inherent saves.
Mhm.
Um, it just the traits. So Scorpion has gotten a bunch of Shigenja
I was
recently,
gonna ask, like,
and
is this good stats for like a 2-cost Shigenja in Scorpion?
so the Soci Illusionist was a 2-cost 1/3/1 Shugenja,
Hmm.
with the ability of pay 1 fate to remove a honor or dishonor token, which kind of puts it in a direct comparison to the Yogo Paramour
Mhm.
because you could argue that if you are dishonoring characters, or if you're dishonoring honored characters, the Paramour does it cheaply or cheaper, but the
Yeah.
Illusionist does it more, right? Because the Paramour can only dishonor once, and that takes them from honored to neutral. The Illusionist, as long as you're willing to pay money turn over turn, can bring people from honored to neutral. Um, I think if he had the courtier trait, uh, he would absolutely get played because then he's got inbuilt interaction with for shame,
Yeah.
where he turns himself sideways and then turns you sideways. Um,
I like I like the fact that it's just, yeah, I can do magic, but I'm just really good with the ladies. Look at my
yeah,
face. Hello.
look,
It's
I
not
do
it's not about the magic. It's
the
about this,
yes,
the face.
the magic is the face. Um, no, I like the card. I think it's definitely worth experimenting with. Um, he like he doesn't need to have the courtier trait to synergize with for shame.
Mhm.
He does turn on KB for whenever you want it. He can turn off Voices of Honors. He can turn on the. There's another Shigenja Scorpion got that dishonored characters draw you a card when they leave. Um, he does work with really well with the. I can't think of Shosuro Deceiver. I think the one that steals abilities off of
Oh, yeah.
dishonored characters. So in that context, he's probably really good.
Yeah, it almost
Uh,
feels just like another piece for like a different,
yeah,
like a shug deck that,
yeah. I think with the cards we've got, there's a new Shugenja deck that can come out. Uh, but I guess in a vacuum of where we are now, it's kind of meh for me.
yeah.
Um, Seize the Mind is the next card. 3-cost event. Maho Spell Air has Maho text. During a conflict, choose a non-unique character, take control of that character until the end of the conflict. You lose honor equal to the amount of fate on that character. Um, I like this card. I
Of
think
course
it's.
you do. Of
I
course
think
you
it's.
do.
I mean, yeah. My red buy is showing. I think this is appropriately costed for the effect. Um, I look forward to being able to live the dream of seizing the mind of a master tactician,
Mm.
playing a bunch of cards, maybe Junzoing his fate off of him into my fate pool, and then turning him into Miyako.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like all the different things. I think of like all the 5 cost armies that are
Yeah,
those are because those are considered non-unique. So
some of them are.
yeah, some are, some aren't.
Yeah. Um, I like that because this card clearly directly compares to Blackmail, right? Because it's
Mhm.
got the same fate cost. It's got a similar effect. Um, Blackmail is more. Actually, I don't think it's more heavily gated. I think the gate is more costly for Seize the Mind. Um, but that one just steals any character that costs 2 or less.
Right, this is anybody.
This is anyone, which is a huge difference because I have played many a Blackmail deck in my day. Because
Oh, I know.
that's kind of a pet card for me.
For the viewers, I have played many of his blackmail decks.
Um, and uh, not being able to hit, like, my Blackmail decks died to Crane because Crane's
Mm.
like, cool, I buy a 3-cost character with 3 fate, pass. And then I look at my Blackmail and I get really sad. Um, this card gets around that. You do lose honor equal to the fate, so I think if you want to get the most value off of it, you need to have a way to kill the character you stole. That way you don't have to deal with it again.
Is it considered to interplay for you?
No,
No. So if there's any interplay effects, that's not going
correct.
to go off.
If
Like if you stole Benefactor.
correct, I would get so. This has the same text, or it's got the same rule frame as Blackmail. When you take control of a character, you get it wherever it is. So if the character is in the conflict, if I get control of it, it stays in the conflict. If I steal a character at home, I get control of it in my home. So if I steal your benefactor and it's participating, all of my stuff is suddenly cheaper, but there aren't any coming into play effects that happen.
How do you think this just seems like you just use Junzo, right? Like you have Junzo, you steal all the fate off their dude, or that you make all the fate go away, and then you don't have to worry about the honor loss when you steal it, or
It depends on what you want to look for, right? Let me pull up Junzo real quick, just so I can uh, get the text correctly, or get the text correct. Um, So choose a character you control, move any amount of fate from that character to your fate pool, or discard all fate from that character. So it really depends on what you want to accomplish and what your board state looks like. Um, if I have the honor to play with, I'm going to steal control of your character with all the fate on it, and then steal that fate for myself. If I need that character to die and I'm at super low honor, then if Junzo is dire, I nuke the fate, steal it, and then use the abilities.
or even
Um,
if not, even if you steal it with fate, you use it then to fuel other Maho or whatever
yeah,
to make it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like the interaction with Junzo really depends on how much honor you have and how much you're willing to sacrifice. Um, Seize the Mind has a hilarious interaction with Shadow Step.
Go on.
Because when characters enter play, by default they enter play under their controller or under
So then
their
you steal it
no, no,
permanently.
sorry, I misspoke. They enter play under their owner's control.
So then you steal it permanently then?
No.
No.
So I steal a dude from you, right? I
Mhm.
do all the scorpion things I want to do. I then play Shadow Step on him. He leaves play, everything falls off of him if he's got anything, and then he comes into play. Because Shadow Step does not specify that it comes into play under your control, like Shisoro Actress does,
Mhm.
it comes into play under its owner's control.
Hmm.
Like the person that physically owns the card,
Right.
which means I can nuke the value off of a card and then give it back to you dishonored.
Hmm. Weird.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like this card. I think it'll probably see some competitive play. Um, but I think its true home is in a janky deck.
I don't know, man. I mean, once you start getting into like reductions, and it's
Yes.
only 2 influence, like
So if you are in a faction that can reduce costs of events or spells, the value goes up very quickly. Um, and there is also that Phoenix card, Invoke the Divine.
mhm.
Uh,
Oh, right.
which it's never seen play, so I don't. Play up to 3 spell cards with total printed cost 5 or less without paying their costs. So this right here
Hmm.
can turn on a bunch of fucking Maho.
That's wild.
Yeah. So if all of a sudden I can pay Seize the Mind for 3 Fate out of my pool, that is straight value.
Yeah, not to mention any other spells that you might have.
Yeah. And also, as we've seen, all the other um, Mahos are spells as well. So I can get Tetsubo's of Blood for free.
Mhm.
Um, Sanguine Mastery, I think, is going to have some weirdness because you're not dishonoring a character.
Yeah, you're
So,
not paying the full cost, so
well, uh, this lets you skip paying costs, but because uh, there's reference to X being the dishonored character's glory, if you're not dishonoring a character, there is no target for that.
right.
Although that might be like a specific rules check thing that maybe it does work. But any of the other Maho effects or Maho attachments you get for free.
I want to try to be.
Ooh.
I mean, this has my jank mind going as well. With 2 influence costs, it makes it seem a little bit more viable. If I was to do like a Maho
Ah,
unicorn deck with
this
combo lock and yeah.
Skin of Fulings, not Maho. So here's a question for you. Assuming you can play like Invoke the Divine, right?
Hmm.
To reduce or to pay the Maho cost for free, basically.
Hmm.
Is Dark Resurrection worth it then?
Almost. Yeah, I could see it, but the investment. Run me through it again one more time. So you're saying you do
You play
skin?
you play Invoke the Divine. That
Okay,
costs
you play info.
that costs 3 fate and lets you
Mhm.
play up to 3 spells from your hand with total fate cost of up to 5 combined.
Is it the same issue? Because I also, as part of that cost, I have to dishonor. Well, no,
No, they come into
the
play
characters will still,
Dishonored.
yeah, they still come into play, so I can still pay that portion.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's better. I could see it. I mean, your Earth roll for Resurrection
right. Invoke the Divine isn't roll
isn't
locked.
roll locked. What's the influence on Invoke?
2.
Like 2.
Which
So
then
do I? Then is it? It comes down to, can I come up with enough Maho that I care about between?
no, it doesn't just have to be Maho, dude.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Like
It's spell.
Command the Tributary, it's free, so don't do it with that one. But that also, can come into play for free. Is and now we're going off into tangent land, which is fine.
We're at the end. We always go
Yeah,
into tangent land.
yeah. Is Talisman of the Sun a spell?
I don't believe so.
I know it's I know it's a Mishoto. No, it's an item Mishoto. Okay.
Yes, item.
Force of the River,
Force of the Rivers as well.
and that costs 1. Yeah.
You have
What other
command
whatever
Current of
spell?
the Beirut,
Yeah, don't do
Invocation
that
of
one.
Ash,
That's fucking terrible. Invocation of Ash could be interesting.
Shadow Steed, Command by Name.
Like I'm starting to actually wonder, out of Unicorn, are there enough spells to make Invoke the Divine and Dark Resurrection a thing?
There's definitely enough spells in. There's enough spells you could splash in Phoenix that I would assume.
And why spell so hard? There we go. Okay, so Unicorn spells. Command the Tributary, Current of the Barret, whatever, Force of the River, Invocation of Ash,
Speed.
Command by Name, which you... Dark Resurrection is... Hang on, let me turn off that.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm having the same issue when I'm searching mine. As it's not.
Oh, because there's... Well, that's annoying. Why isn't Dark Resurrection up here?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Didn't find it. Okay. That is Earthroll only, so you can't do Command by Name. But, ooh, so Command by Name, you don't pay the cost of Honor if you do Invoke the Divine.
Do I discard a card still? Because it's lose an honor and discard.
You don't pay costs.
Yeah, that's true. So then I set it to 0.
What splashable Phoenix spells are there that are worth a damn? Grasp of the Earth is not it. Pour one out for Gerogen's Curse.
Ramparts, maybe? It's a matter of influence at that point because I'm already
Well,
probably spending.
You're at 6 for... it doesn't look like there's enough there, so maybe, unless there's any weird neutral spells, now it's just Cloud the Mind. Although you could play Cloud the Mind for free too.
Sure.
And then the question becomes, can you invoke the Divine, a Cloud the Mind, if you don't have a Shugenja? Because you're not playing it. Or are you playing it? No, you do play it. Okay, so you do have to have a Shugenja. Okay, anyways. Back to the last card. So maybe, I mean, I guess like if you want to look at a weird Maho Phoenix Splash, you do invoke the Divine Embrace the Void.
Yeah. We'll probably just have to see what else comes out for the rest of the cycle.
Yeah.
And maybe there's enough there. Maybe there's enough saturation where you can make some fun jank.
Okay, Shadowed Village. Reaction, it's a +0 strength holding. Village trait, after one or more fate is removed from a character you control outside the fate phase, draw 1 card. Draw 2 cards instead if that character is dishonored. It's a good card.
Yeah, it seems okay.
Scorpion can still dishonor itself very easily. This makes Maho real good.
Yeah, I mean, you're straight up drawing, replacing the card you're playing.
There's a timing issue with Disguised. I'm not sure. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, no, so with Disguised, you will only draw 1 card, even if the target is dishonored. Because like when the character leaves play, it's no longer dishonored. Or when you pull fate off of it. Like it's a weird timing thing, and I believe the assessment was the token and fate move at the same time.
Okay.
So you don't draw 2 cards off of a Disguised overlay, but you will draw 1. Obviously, Maho's real good. Yeah, it's solid card draw.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just seems if you're running that way and you can make fate remove outside the fate phase, which the
Hmm.
only way I can think of really is Maho for the most part. Then yeah,
Sacrificing.
yeah, that's true. Sacrificing.
If you sacrifice a character, the fate does come off of it. Um, Also, Scorpion has criminal contacts,
What is that?
right?
Criminal contact.
Yeah. I built a really terrible uh, Phoenix or Scorpion Splashing Phoenix deck with this card. Play only if your bid dial or honor bid is higher than an opponent's. Choose a character. Each opponent may give you one honor to choose a character. Discard one fate from each chosen character.
Hmm.
So you could dishonor or pull a fate off your own dishonored character to draw 2 cards.
Hmm.
That doesn't feel terrible.
Yeah, I think it's pretty decent
Yeah.
if you're gonna go that way.
Alternatively, if your entire board is dishonored, then you can let your opponent give you one honor to pull a fate off so you can draw 2 cards.
Yeah,
But no, the deck I made with this ran this, Dispatch to Nowhere, Consumed by 5 Fires, and Mono no Aware.
sounds fun to play against.
It was terrible. Like it would have been fine to play against because it didn't work.
So I will say, uh, I'm bringing this up kind of randomly, but we have had a card that has been released question mark that is not part of any cycle. Is the Tides of War? Do you want to discuss the Tides of
Yes.
War?
Actually, if you want to phrase it that way, we've had 2 cards. One card released, one card previewed that is not part of any cycle.
What's that?
The Crab
Crab
Clan
armor?
armor. Yeah.
Yeah, the crab armor.
Let me pull up the Tides of War real quick. Uh, I have non-card related issues with this card, but I will keep those to myself. All right. The Tides of War. This is part of the Kote Prize
Hmm.
from last year.
Yeah, let's give some context, right? Like
Yeah.
this was supposed to be a Kote prize
Yeah. So
that this would have a clan associated with it normally. That
last year, they changed the way they did Kote prizes so that Scorpion wouldn't get all of them again
yeah.
because Scorpion had gotten Toshi Rambo and Kunshu.
Hmm.
So last year they had it set up to where um, there were 3 different prizes, and one clan could not get all of them.
Hmm.
One clan could get 2 of them, but no one clan could get all of them. Uh, Tides of War was supposed to be for the winning clan that had the most wins, I believe.
Hmm.
Which, if you look at the Kote results before the world descended into
All
the,
2 months of it.
the most boring apocalypse, um, Scorpion was going to get this card.
Hmm.
Thankfully, Fantasy Flight decided, hey, we have these cards. We don't have, like, the Kote season technically didn't happen. There were like 3, maybe 4 Kotes.
I think
Although
there were
this,
like 3. Yeah,
I know the Spanish one had the cops called on it and got canceled.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I think there was 1 or 2 in England that went through, plus the one in Fort Worth or
Yeah,
Dallas
the
Fort
one
Worth.
we had.
Yeah.
Wow, those
Um,
those promos are probably pretty
yes.
valuable. So
Yes.
nobody got them.
Yes. Which I am actually going to try and sell mine because I don't want L5R to take up more space than it already does. So because cards are coming out, I'm selling promos.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, the so Tides of War was supposed to be a Scorpion card. I say supposed to. Scorpion was currently winning the Tides of War card. But since the Kote season didn't really happen, the cards are all neutral. And the only one we've seen so far is Tides of War. So, one Fate event After the conflict phase begins, set each non-stronghold province's base strength to 0 until the end of the phase, including provinces that are revealed later this phase. Which is important because otherwise, based on provinces wouldn't be affected by this.
Yeah.
Now, the art I have on screen has 3 influence. That is a mistake.
Yeah.
This card has no influence on it, which means the other 2 cards, Fiery Vengeance and Dissension,
Will not have any.
will very likely not have fate as well. So, as a Unicorn player, on a scale of Chagatai to Lion's Pride Paragon, how much do you like this card?
It's paint this thing purple, baby. This
Yeah.
is going in like every Unicorn deck.
Yeah.
The thing that really sells it is other provinces that are revealed this phase. Like
Yeah.
1 fate to just you're talking for an HMT deck. The average value I think of a province is 3 or 4, pretty reliably. So you're looking at least probably 9 force that is just done.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about. For 1 fate, absolutely.
Yeah. Oni no Kuni, I'm glad that they did these prize cards as neutral cards, because it would have felt really bad to have these cards be clan locked when there were only like 3 or 4 events to pull like the prize pool from.
Yeah, it would have been so weird.
As a note on this card, it can absolutely bite you in the butt, because this is all provinces.
Yeah, it's everybody.
So only play this if you're first player.
I mean, Unicorn generally is not a defensive clan. You could make a lot of our 0, and it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference.
I mean, that's true too, right?
Difference. Like, we don't care.
And Endless Plains is functionally 0.
Yeah.
Consor Do is irrelevant after it flips.
It's effect is what you care about.
I will say, if you want to go like hardcore into jank on this, Tides of War plus Breakthrough. Plus,
if this thing makes Breakthrough playable, incredible.
Plus Ivory Kingdom's Unicorn means you could declare 3 military conflicts before your opponent has a chance to do anything.
Now you have me asking a question of distribution, because I want this card, but yet it is not. I can't. Right? I don't think this is in Jigoku yet. Like, I can't play this on Jigoku.
This is not on Jigoku. I have no idea how they're going to be distributing this. Oh no, they're going to distribute it in cycle packs.
Okay.
Because that's how they've done all the other Kote prize cards. So I guess if people are paranoid that they haven't heard anything about playtester design past this current cycle, and or the big box that's coming, assuming a big box is coming, there's going to be at least 2 more cycles, I think, because it seems like there's the Kote prize. Khonshu's Kote prize was from 2 years ago, and it just came out.
That's true. So this is you're right. It's like a cycle prize.
And Dominion came out after the Khonshu season and didn't have a Kote prize in it. Or no, Dominion had Khonshu.
But that's the thing, is that this is print and play. Like, this was part of the print and play initiative that they had, and they hit that threshold, and then they revealed it.
Yes.
So.
But I don't know. Like,
maybe this is the promo version. Like, this is what a promo version would look like. And then.
So like, if this card does get released, it's going to be maybe next cycle. I think the math works out to be the cycle after, which means we're going to get to at least cycle 8. Because this card exists, unless they move entirely to a print and play kind of thing, but I don't see that ever happening.
And we still, like we said, we still have crab armor.
And there's still a fucking crab armor, right? Like, let me see. I don't even know how to look for that card. I guess
It's got to be on Bushi Builder.
since we're talking about previewing cards, this came out 6 months ago, but no one's talked about it because no one knows when the fuck it's going to exist. Attachment, grab, this reinforced plate. No, it's not on Bushi Builder.
Okay, then.
Because it, hang on, maybe it's because I don't have the, that.
Well, I mean, it is a promo-only card, so it's not like they have an actual scan.
Yeah, no, it is not on, it's not on Bushi Builder.
Weird.
And my cards are far away from me right now, so I can't look it up. So we'll talk about that one next time.
What, I mean, we're completely in off-topic land now, but like, what novellas are left? There's Crane hasn't gotten one.
So looking at the ones I have right next to me, we have Dragon Phoenix, Scorpion, and Crab, right?
Unicorn too. There's the unicorn one.
Oh, where's my unicorn novella? Oh. No, I mean, I know you're right because we got the promo Shono and yeah, so we are just missing Phoenix and Crane.
Phoenix and Crane are the last two.
Yeah. So those should be coming out, and then there's also the Crab.
No.
Novel.
Phoenix was the first book.
Oh no, you're right. Phoenix was the first book. So Crane and why the fuck am I blanking on which clan is missing here?
Lion.
Yeah.
Lion.
All right.
Crane and Lion are the last two then.
Because Lion just irritates the fuck out of me, so I put it out of mind as much as possible. So yeah, that is pack 3. I think this is definitely a good pack to purchase.
Yeah, good solid pack.
Unless you're Crane. Crane isn't going to play Disparaging Challenge yet. Everyone else, I think, got interesting cards to play with. Or
I like the move towards putting inherent combos in the same pack. Like I think they did it 2 or 3 times in this one. Between the unicorn cards having an obvious combo, you have the Phoenix having an obvious combo with like the Maho.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing to not have to necessarily wait for the other piece. Yeah. And that's not something we generally see, even in the rest of the cycle, where you see immediately like, oh, okay, these are supposed to go together.
Yeah, I think on volume of good cards, Unicorn wins.
Lion though. Lion
wins because it got one fucking busted card. But like on volume of cards, I think Unicorn got all 3 of Unicorn's cards are viable.
Yeah.
Feeding an army is playable, but I don't think it has a home just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Lion's Pride Paragon is just busted, in my opinion. It is way too goddamn pushed.
Have you gone up against it in any games yet on Jigoku?
No, I haven't played on Jigoku in a while.
You're always casting now.
I'm always casting now, which is fine. I enjoy the crap out of it, but it does make most of my discussions hypothetical and not like applied.
Sure.
But I will say, like, looking at what's on this pack, and this pack is live on Jigoku, because the Jigoku devs are super awesome about this shit. There are a number of decks I want to try and build out from here. Like, I want to try and build out a Shahai Tower deck for Unicorn. I do want to throw in Key Alignment, Hurricane Punch, and Void Fist into Phoenix because they have a bunch of monks that are useful. There's a bunch of decks I want to build out of here. So this is a very solid pack. I think the Paragon's going to be a problem. It really should have not bowed on pack. I'd have felt much better about it that way.
Yeah.
I was not asked because I'm not on playtests, which is fine. So my opinion matters exactly as much as it does.
Oh, I will also mention this pack was delayed. Originally, it was supposed to come out on Friday. All FFG LCG products have been delayed to the 22nd. I got an update saying they were having like a
Is
specific dock or something. It's at where it's having issues.
I was gonna say, is that because we're like very nearly plunging into a civil war?
No, no,
Okay,
not in this particular case.
yeah,
But yeah, like Marvel Champions and this stuff and whatever their all their LCG products
yeah,
were having issues.
which is fine. It's not like
Yeah,
you know.
nobody's playing physically
I was
anyway.
gonna
It
say
doesn't matter.
most of the world is in lockdown. Hopefully by summertime,
Yeah,
will like people will be able to regularly get in and play, which will
yeah, I'm
do.
ready. I'm ready for some local play again.
Yeah,
Ready to see everybody
yeah. Playing on Jigoku's great. Uh,
blow. I can't stand the
it's
pace.
it's slower, and unless you're on a voice call with someone talking shit, is just so inefficient.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's where we are. A Crimson Offering, good pack to buy, good cards in it. I think Rain is probably the loser, just on cards that it's. I think Disparaging Challenge is good. I don't think it's going to get played until it needs to be played.
hmm
Everyone else got cards that are worth looking at.
And like we've been talking through all of these packs for this cycle, it just seems to be a fair version of what we got last cycle. Just all the cards seem. You know,
Yes,
you can have some craziness, you can have some line craziness, but comparatively,
I
it
think
seems
I think
more fair.
yeah, I think every clan so far has gotten good cards and
Mhm.
cards that are worth playing and cards that are worth building around. We're not necessarily seeing the power discrepancy of Rally, where it's on Butcher, it's on Sonuri, and then it's on Open Window.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Open window. Right.
Um, so I think the distribution of power in this cycle is better. I think there are still some like spiky problem cards,
Mhm.
but overall it feels much more even keeled.
Yeah. Same. Same.
And hopefully we can continue to save that for the next 3 packs.
Yeah. Hopefully.
We are only halfway through this.
That's true. I don't want to be too optimistic.
That's just so out of character for me. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Whenever that is. Have a good one.
Bye.